How did you come up with the name Cedric the Entertainer?
That was I told the story before. It's a very I don't know what you call it, serendipity, right?
Right.
Like I used to go by a lot of different names. I used to have I used
I
to
know the
go.
word Cheerio. You
Oh,
can't use that one no more.
come on,
You
man.
can't use Cheerio.
Come on, man. Cheerio, Cheerio lit. That's lit, nah.
How did you? First of all, how did you land on Cheerio? Of all the names.
Hey man, so all I remember was it used to be a comedian named Kodak.
Okay.
And and he used to go by Kodak. Everybody knew him, and he had the one name. So I had my name. My name is Cedric. I used to do by Cedric. And then when people would announce my real last name, I just didn't really like that as a
Right.
comedian name.
Right.
So I was trying to come up with a name, and so I was like, cheer me, happy. And my name is Cedric. It's a C in it. I'm
Right.
Cheerio.
Right.
Like, yeah. He just came out.
That's what they
I
say.
had the necklace and everything, dog. I used to have a chain.
So you go. So obviously, okay, you start out.
Ah.
You doing the acting. You like the drama aspect of it. But you go to the comedian side.
Yeah.
Did you know eventually that becoming a comedian would lead you to be in movies?
Well, it was starting to be around that time. Like,
Okay.
like this is late 80s, 87-ish, 89. So you start to see like of course we had the super famous guys. So it was, Richard Pryor and the Bill Cosbys at that time and the Red Foxes. But then Eddie Murphy was popping off,
Yeah,
right?
Eddie, yeah,
And he
Eddie,
was young.
yes.
He was a guy that felt like us,
Right.
right? So you started to see like, oh, young people. Then shortly after came the Living Colors, and then you started to know people like Martin, and then and I at that time just through stand up met Steve Harvey. So
Right.
it was one of those times where you start to recognize like, all right, cool, comedy could be a way out. Like
Right.
it started to grow. But beforehand you would just think you could never, because everybody was big time. If
Yeah.
you didn't know the low level people. You only knew the big names, and there was very few of them. So that didn't really seem like a true path to stardom.
You mentioned that you got your start in the late '80s, but you see the transition that a lot of the comedians made. You look at Richard Pryor being a comedian, and then he's huge.
Yes.
You see Eddie Murphy, comedian, he's huge.
Yes.
Obviously, Red Fox and some of the others. Did you think, man, that could be my path?
Once it started to happen, like once I tried stand up, and I mean the first time I ever did it, I got a standing ovation and won $500. So I what? And that was the most money I made at one time, because I had jobs, I had
Right.
corporate jobs and did well, but not like somebody hand you a
Right.
bunch of cash.
Right.
Like he was like, yo, like and I started doing the math. Like if I can do this
Right.
3 nights a week, I'll be killing my job.
So while you're selling insurance, or you're with State Farm.
Yeah.
Are you doing the comedian on the side?
Yeah, I was a claims adjuster, so
Okay.
I handled direct afterwards.
Okay, okay.
And show up,
So you the one that underselling. Nah, it ain't worth that. I give you,
Yeah,
I give you
exactly.
I give you 500 on the total cost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but your peoples though. They be coming there trying to, this a classic, say it. Like, no, that's a Cutlass. That's yeah, it's a classic maybe nowadays, but back then that's an old Cutlass family.
Right.
I know you love it, but that's not. I can't give you all the money you're trying to get for that.
When you told your mom that Mom, this corporate thing ain't for me. I'm about to become a comedian full time. What was her response?
That was a tough one, because my mother, again, she's from a small town, worked her way up through college, definitely believed in get you a job, corporate. That was the journey that everybody did at that
Right.
time. If you weren't, like an athlete and, gonna be in the NFL or the NBA, then, your best bet was to get a good, get a college degree, get a good corporate job, and work your way up. That was it. And I was on that path. I'm working for State Farm. I got like opportunity. I wear a suit and tie.
Right.
I got a little corporate card. I got a company credit card. She like, those are the things that you want in life. And I was like, no, I don't. So I remember I told her I wanted to quit and and do comedy, but I had a strategy. I was like, I'm not gonna just quit. I want to try to work my way to you know, where it makes sense, but I definitely don't want to do this job.
Right. This is not my 30-year plan.
Yeah, that's not me. And she was like a little saddened by that, you know, thinking that that was a good plan. But I remember I told her a joke that I wrote. Man, I wish I could remember this joke exactly, but I just remember I told her a joke that I had written, and we were standing in the kitchen at my childhood house, and she laughed so hard she went to the ground.
Okay.
And that's my vivid memory of my mother getting who I am.
You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button and become an official member of Club Shay Shay, where we do something before two something.